What's good, y'all? Yeah, I can play rock, but there's a lot more other genres out there than rock. So if I don't play rock, please don't feel offended. good. I've never really worked on syncopation per se, so I don't really have any. Uh, I don't really have any exercises. I've played music that's very syncopated. You know, uh, you know what I mean? Like I've just learned music that was like incredibly syncopated. You know, um, uh, you know, yeah. Like a song with a lot of syncopation is "Everyday Hero" by George Duke. That's what I was just playing. You know, um, I think when I was learning, like, here's another really syncopated song. It's called 4 a.m. Ah, you know, that's actually, you know, I don't know, man. Like I said, I just learned syncopated. Like I've never. I even have a book called Syncopation. I never read it. Like I bought it. I never read it. Because by the time I got it, I saw some of the exercises in it, and I can't even remember them. But I was like playing like really really highly syncopated stuff already, so it was kind of like, oh well, I know how to do this, I know how to do that. You know, I need to get back to it. But yeah, I just learned really really highly syncopated songs, and And really, I worked on a lot of ghost notes. You know, like you know, um, you know, I worked on different pieces. I kind of approach drums like Legos. Um, there's certain tools that I use to kind of create what I want to create, and really, I kind of like my approach better because it allows me to improvise. It allows me just to make up stuff on the spot. Like a lot of what I'm doing is, even if I'm playing something someone else does, I can play it note for note, but I can also improvise around it. So, you know, gotta work on that. You got Adams? Oh, I need those, bro. I need a pair of Adams. Those are like the last. Those and a pair of Genelecs. I actually have two kind of mixing stations. I got one there and I got one there. Um, but I've got Mackeys over here and I don't want them. I want a pair of Adams and Genelecs. remember. I need those. I desperately need a pair of those, man. You know what, man? Hold on. Well, Tama used to make these. I don't think they make them anymore. Sorry about that. I was muted. Tammy used to make these. I don't know if they make them anymore, but I ended up getting a rubber one and a felt one. Um, I've always meant to go back and get another rubber one and another metal one because, you know, I like a consistent sound. But Tammy used to make these, man. And I've gone, you know what? Since you mentioned it, I gotta look that up. Hold on. Hold on, guys. Now I'm like, once I get single mindedly focused, I can't, I gotta follow through with it. It literally gave me concert mallets. I think they stopped making them, man. Okay, here we go. Is it TAM or DW? It might be. Oh no, they're Iron Cobra mallets. Because I'm looking at a wood one right now. Oh, they're beaters. They still make them. So they're the Iron Cobra. They got Iron Cobra wood ones. They got the felt ones. They got these. They still sell them. 35 bucks. And they have these. And they've got the Acu Strikes. I want to get a pair of those too. Yeah, they're Iron Cobra Acu Strikes. Well, no, the Iron Cobra CB90R beaters. That's what they are. Yeah. So they still sell them, so I can buy them. Yeah, yeah. Kaya, what's up? Yeah. Follow through. Oh, you know what? These lock nuts, they actually came with them. I actually went online and bought a bunch of them too, because I like these, man. I like them. I also use them as weights. Um, but yeah, they actually came with them. Oh, you asked why a carpet? It's because the bass drums have claws. The old school ones used to have the front claws. Before carpets, like Mac guys like Max Roach and um and Art Blakey, and Buddy Rich and Louis Belson. They would actually nail the bass drum to the floor. Um, Now, they just make bass drums. The arms actually have a really, really sharp point, and you just get a rug. You know, get a rug. So it has something to dig into. Yep, I did that. I did the old rope trick. The old rope trick. I literally was gonna say that. I was gonna say, yeah. I used to tie a rope from my throne to the bass drum, and have it on one arm, wrap it around my throne, put it on the other arm. You know, like even this one, I kind of bunched it up. I used to have a. I just like I like carpet because it absorbs a lot of sound. But I used to have a carpet on top of this carpet, like this one. This is two carpets right here, over here, and then oh, you can't see the separation. There's this Persian carpet, and then there's another carpet right there. This carpet actually has a red one that I have, and I don't know what color. It's just like a bunch of colors on top of it. But I used to have a smaller Persian rug under this kit. Now I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Um, and I use it for I use it as my gig rug. Um, Another cheat, like another cool hack. If you're a gigging drummer, um, is get a golf caddy, a like a travel caddy. Um, Hold on, I'll show you the one I have. I don't know if you guys can see it. Yeah. Um. Yeah. They're great. That's like a cool. Like dude, I got mine for free. I used to do property management for a really, really high end property firm, and I was working at a property, and one of the guys, some guy, he didn't want it, and I got the idea from another friend of mine he's kind of like a gospel R&B drummer. He's pretty well known in Atlanta, here in Atlanta. Um, and I saw him coming to a gig with a like he's got a gray one. I was like, huh? He's like, yeah, it's for gear. I was like, oh, you put your stands and stuff, and he's like, yeah. I was like, and then literally a week later, somebody had one, and they were like about to like toss it. I was like, bro, I need that. He's like, oh, you play golf? I said, no, I play drums. And he looked at me funny. I said, yeah, I'll use it for stands and stuff like that. He's like, oh wow, that's pretty smart. So I saw they were like 150, 170 bucks. Um, but if you get them like off, you can get them off Facebook Marketplace for I don't know, 50 bucks, 40 bucks, something like that. The floor tom, two of these. All right, this is loud. There we go. That's a 12. This is a 10. That's a 12 by 5. 12 by 5.5. This is a 13. 13 by 14. This came with the kit. And this is a 16 by 12. Yeah, 16 by 12. This one and this one actually came from a kit that I made. Um, it's actually my gigging kit. Um, it's got the kit that I made has a 10, this 12, a 13, but it's got a deeper 13. 13 by no, it's 13 by no, yeah, 13 by 12 and 16 by 12. And I gotta I don't know. I'll figure out how to make a snare. I just don't feel like it's easier to make toms, you know. And a friend of mine, he puts bearing edges on toms. He actually makes custom drum sets. But I gave him the toms, and I was like, "Yo, cut them down." I gave him the dimensions, and I was like, "Put some bearing edges on it." He was like, "You want the round bearing edges or the?" I was like, "Give me the round ones." So, you know, because there is a different sound. Um, but it's a pretty cool kit. You know, yours weighs a ton. Yeah, mine has wheels too. Yeah, yeah. No, mine doesn't weigh that much. It's not to me. It's pretty. It's just thin plastic. You know, like I saw my friends. His is smaller than mine, and it weighs a ton. Like it's thicker plastic. It's like padding. I'm like, man, I'd have tore all the padding out of that just because I don't need it. So thank you, thank you. I love the kit is nice, bro. It's like I said, it's my gigging kit. I haven't stained the wood yet. I don't want them stained necessarily. I want them to have like a satin finish. I don't want a shiny finish. I want kind of like a satiny, almost matte. Just not too shiny, but you know, um, like kind of smooth satin. Um, but I also a friend of mine who does woodworking, a bass player friend of mine who does woodwork. I got a gig with him this Friday actually. Um, I wonder why they were asking me if I wanted a mic. I've got mics. Whatever. Um, but I he told me about this stuff. It's beeswax and linseed oil. And the good thing about it is you could use it in the kitchen because it's like it's safe for skin and like to use around food and stuff like that. Doesn't have like some choking chemical. It's all natural, you know. So I'm gonna get a bunch of that, you know. And he said when you wipe it on, like my fear was that if I wipe it on, I don't want to see the overlapping stain. I don't. Want, he said when you do it, like you could put 5 coats on and it all looks the same. Like it blends right in. You know, so I was like, really? He was like, yeah, man, it's really good stuff. He said it's expensive, but it's good. So I'm gonna get a gallon. A gallon costs, I want to say like 35 bucks, 36 bucks. Not even a gallon, like a half gallon or something like that costs like 36 bucks. I don't really need that much. You know, he said you really don't need that much. You can just wipe it on and it's good. You know, you don't have to worry about it being in a well ventilated area. It doesn't give off any noxious odors or anything like that. So he did it because he made something for his wife in their kitchen, like some kind of drawer or something like that. Some kind of cabinet with a drawer in it and stuff like that. And he uses it. He refurbishes like old furniture, so he uses it for that. Where he doesn't want to stain it, he wants it to be protected and and what have you. But he doesn't want to put some kind of weird stain on the wood. So it's really good stuff. Oh, woo! Reflexes. it Hot Atlanta, if you come down here and say Hot Atlanta, people will look at you like you got an arm growing out of your neck, bro. It's ATL. Yeah, ATL. The ATL. Nobody calls it Hot Atlanta. That's like 1990, like 1995, 1994. It's like old school. Yeah, you might get cussed out. You call it Hot Atlanta. You might get an old white woman cussing you out, bro. It's not Hot Atlanta. It's ATL. For real, man. No one likes that name, Hot Atlanta. I think that was a name that like people outside of Atlanta kind of gave it. You know. No, I can't say that. Be- what? What the heck? No, I can't say that because there was a radio station called 98 Hot Atlanta, and it was a hip hop station. As a matter of fact, Ludacris was the DJ. He was the disc jockey. Like he used to be on the radio. He used to be freestyling on the radio. When I first moved down, I moved down here in the '90s, and like the late '90s. Um, I my I got my a lot of like I got family down here. So during the whole like I was back and forth from New Jersey to Atlanta for like ever. Um, since like '89, you know. Um, but back in the day, Ludacris was called Chris Lover Lover on the radio, and he was a disc jockey, you know, and he would just like freestyle. But his freestyles, he would have rappers come up and he would blow them out. His freestyles were better than the rappers. Like he would blow them like out of the water. And people after a while, people are like, "Yo, man, this dude can rap, bro. He can actually like really, really rap." And he ended up. Nobody knew. I think there was a few industry insiders um, that knew he actually was a rapper, but nobody really knew it until he came out with his DTP label and came out with a bunch of hits, and people were like, "Oh, So it's really wild seeing him, and then he got into movies and stuff. But it's wild seeing him progress from just like a radio DJ to like a legend in the rap industry, and now he's into acting and stuff like that. It's pretty wild, man. It's encouraging, you know. Nah. But yeah, yeah, yeah. It's wild because I remember being down. My wife moved down here in '96 to go to college. My wife is from New Orleans. As a matter of fact, my wife remembers. She remembers Master P. His name was Dirty Percy. And one of my wife's childhood friends, when I say childhood friends, they all were raised as like 8-month-old babies. They all were raised together. Um, the girl's name is Gina Kobe, and she's Creole. Um, she kind of looks, she looks Latino actually, but she's Creole. Um, and like she used to model and everything. Um, and what happened is she would, they all went to school together. Well, my wife went to like a private school, a private all girls Catholic school, and but her friend Gina, like Master P, used to hit on her all the time. Used to take her out. Was trying to like, I want you to be my wife. Like, yeah, he was chasing my wife's friend Gina Kobe. Um, but my wife remembers Master P coming up, and she was like, "We don't like them," and she was like, "We like We like Cash Money. You know, she was like Masterpiece, like kind of corny. But they were like we like Cash Money, and then they had a group called UNLV. I don't want to name. I don't want to tell you what the name, what those letters stand for. Um, but Cash Money was big, and my wife's cousin was in school with Lil Wayne. She grew up with Lil Wayne. Like they went to high school together for like I think he went to high school for a few years, like for me like maybe 2 years. Um, they went to different elementary schools, but they both lived uptown. No, my wife's cousin lived in the Ninth Ward. Wayne lived uptown, and his name isn't Wayne; it's Dwayne. He lived uptown. They both went to the same school. They both went to the same high school, McMain High School, which was McMain High School is a school for the gifted. So Wayne is really a smart guy. He sounds like a mumbling idiot now because of the drugs, but he's really a smart guy, you know. But his career took off, and in the 10th grade, he had to quit. So he didn't quit. He just well he had to leave, and then he was getting tutored, and then he actually went to college. Like, and this is after he was famous. He actually went to like Houston. He's some college in Houston. Um, and and then his career took off even further, and that's because like I just can't do it. Like I can't, because he was with Cash Money and all of that stuff, and he was famous, and then he just became basically a god on the mic, and it was like he was four times more famous than he was, when he was younger. Um, and that's he said, man, I can't. So I think he made it to like his junior year, uh, and his career just took off. It was just like it was too much. It was too much. So he only went to college because he promised his mom was like, "You got to go to college. You got to go to college." And he promised his mom he would go to college, but he just couldn't. He was too famous, man. He was way too famous. He was famous in high school. You know, so it's pretty wild. I don't really do them too much. You know, find my diddle. I don't really do them. I mean, I don't get too far into, you know, too far deep into like the what's the name of that? The rudiments. I just kind of keep it basic, you know. Um, because to be honest, I've seen guys who could do every every rudiment in the book, and the variations, but you know, I think what it comes down to is making music. You know, um, getting the tools that you need. Like I'll say this, Dave Weckl said this. He said, "Look, get your feet as fast as possible. Learn the rudiments you need to learn, and focus on making music. You know, and that's what it's about. It's about focusing on making music. And it wasn't until later that I realized, like, oh, you get older and you start running into other drummers, and you're like, oh, he knows this and he knows that, but he sucks, you know. And that's guys who get caught up into, I gotta, their pride comes from they know all the rudiments, or their pride comes from they can play as fast as possible, but that's it. Or their pride might be like you run into this a lot. I went to Berkeley, but they suck. I went to Juilliard, but they suck. I went to PIT, Percussion Institute of Technology, and that's what they walk around, Or like it's nothing, Like I've seen it all, bro. I've seen guys who like could like, but couldn't do this. You know, couldn't play a decent shuffle. You know, their feel is like trash because that's what they focused on. Instead of actually playing music, they couldn't do this. Ahead of the beat. On the beat. Behind the beat. And the reason why they can't is because they've been doing the same thing for so long. They haven't learned how to, and that's the basics. Playing on the beat, playing ahead of the beat, playing behind the beat. That's basics. You know what I mean? So, focus on playing music, man. I know, like, what happens is I could probably tell, like, I could tell you're, like, you might be pretty young, you know? Because when you're young, it's about what can you do? Well, what can you do? How fast can you play? How fast can you play? And there's a thing, I was talking about that this morning. There's a thing about speed. The faster you play, the more the groove goes away. You know, and I can play relatively fast. My speed ain't. I'm not a slouch. So I'm not a slouch. I'm not the fastest guy in the world, but I ain't a slouch. I've got some speed. But so my point is, yeah, speed has its place. It's for execution. It's so you can execute things freely. But you got to remember that playing fast, you remove the groove. People nod their head like this. You know, you know what I mean? Like, even if you speed it up a little. But, like, that. You know what I mean? It's just like there's no groove to it. Now, there's a place for it. There's definitely a place. There's a place for that kind of stuff, but that's not all of music. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of guys get caught up in that, and then they neglect. That's this part of the music, as opposed to you know this whole room. It's that stuff is like this big compared to all of the different genres that are like the size of this room. You know, um, and I'll say this: like a lot of like I've seen this, man. Guys end up leaving. They end up leaving the scene because nobody wants to see the old dude playing. Tick, 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 tick. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that. And not only that, you limit the amount of money you're putting in your pocket. You're limiting. Now, I think you should learn some metal. I think you should learn, different enough of as many genres as possible, so that you can express yourself. But a lot of times, the unfortunate thing is like a lot of young players focus on just one kind of music, and that's it. And then unfortunately, they can't see past their youth. So like time goes by fast, and eventually they look up, and if they haven't made it, all of their friends just leave, and they get jobs, you know. And if you really want to do this, and you want to keep working, and I'm speaking from personal experience, I've seen this. You want to learn other kinds of music, because once you get out of that, then it's like, okay, well, you're a drummer and you play for a living. Okay, so what do you want? What are you gonna do? You got to learn how to play other stuff. Learn how to play other stuff early on, way early on. Like, I could play metal, but I could also play. Or or so got a splinter. Diversify, man. Diversify your skill set. You know, so or calypso. You know, you want to mix it up, man. Or even like Reunion Island. You want to mix it up, man. You want to mix it up. You want to get, you want to learn as many different kinds of music as possible so that you can kind of, you feel comfortable. You've got the basic building blocks of whatever whatever is put in front of you, man. You know, because then you can get money in other places, man. Sorry, guys. 3:30 alarm. Dubstep. Dubstep has a lot of. It's a lot of effect. I played in a band where it was rap, rock, and like dubstep. You know. So yeah, dubstep has a lot of effects. So you know, you can go. You know, and I'm not even good at like drum and bass. I know I could. I've got a lot to learn, but I know enough to kind of. So learn as much as possible, man. You know, even if you're not good at it, if you're presented with the situation, you're gonna get good because that's all you're gonna be playing after a while. You know, um, you know, Even work on odd time. Work on four-way independence, man. You know what I mean? If you want to make it a little more interesting. So, four-way independence, man. There's a lot of stuff, man. It goes beyond rudiments and speed. Don't pigeonhole yourself into, oh, I'm going to learn as many rudiments as possible. Learn what works for you. I'm not saying don't learn rudiments. Learn what works for you. Learn something that you can pull out of your toolbox. Like, I don't know if you noticed, I don't play. I'll just say this. I play singles, of course, singles, doubles, paradiddles. Except, of course, my singles are singles. My doubles, I start, in flams, but like this is an exercise. I'm sorry, guys. I keep burping in the mic. But this. They all sound relatively the same. Um, but I can do that because I've kind of some of the rudiments I've kind of altered to fit me. I do my doubles like this. I start with a single, and I end with a single. My paradiddles, I don't do regular paradiddles. I do inverted paradiddles because they sound like this, and they sound like this. So they all relatively sound the same. You know, and plus, they a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff is easier if it's done as an inverted paradiddle versus a regular paradiddle. Now, don't get me wrong, I can play a regular paradiddle, but if you could do something easier and more interesting with an inverted paradiddle, why not? Of course, I do flam tabs. I like Herdias. And I like stuff that forces you to alternate. Like here's an exercise. It's basically a pyramid. And back up the pyramid. And just and sometimes like I practice on the practice pad every morning. Sometimes I'll turn on YouTube and watch a 53-minute video and just do that for 53 minutes. Just just to warm up, really, to warm up. And that's not like a flex or anything, but that's how old my muscles are. I need that to warm up. The older you get, the harder it is to warm up. You'll notice that when you get older, as you get older. It takes just a lot more to warm up. And even now, I'm not really warmed up. I'm kind of simmering. I'm all right. I'm getting there. But if I stop too long, my hands will get cold. But that's a good exercise. Or this is an exercise I came up with because somebody threw me a solo and I tried it. This idea popped in my head and it crashed and burned like the Hindenburg. Um, this is it. I was trying to actually do that. That popped in my head. And I was like, dang. And I guess people were like, okay, nice try. Um, but what I like to do is if there's something I go for and I can't do it, then I turn it into an exercise. You know, um, here's another good exercise. This is good for alternating. That's good for like alternating, and go up and down. That's it's basically a pyramid. I go from one, I go from two. Usually I go, you know, but from one all the way to eight, back down to one. That's a good exercise. I just kind of was like I've seen guys go, and I was like, I want to do it with both hands. I want to be able to switch. So I just use it as an exercise, and I'm still working on it, obviously. But I but I like I said, I'm still working on it. It's an exercise I came up with like maybe a month ago, like maybe 2 months ago, about 2 months. Yeah, about 2 months ago. What is it? June, 2.5 months ago. And I'm still working on it. I don't work on it every day. I just use it when there's certain times where I'm like, okay, well, let me, like, I like to just play and play other stuff and then work on different exercises and then just kind of play and play and play. And then I gauge my overall ability by how I do those exercises. You know what I mean? I'll be 60 next month, man. SpongeBob theme. Another thing too, if you're a drummer, get into physical exercise, man. Get into physical exercise, man. It helps on drums. It definitely helps on drums. You know. Daniel, what up? What up, y'all in the chat? If I haven't said anything or whatever, whether you said hi or not, you don't have to. I'm just gonna say what's up to y'all anyway. I'm glad you're here. I live stream every day. If you'd like to, learn some tips and tricks or just hang out, ask questions, I'm here every day, at least twice a day, sometimes 4 times. I live stream my workouts. I live stream my practice pad workouts. Um, I live stream my practices. I like to live stream my practices. Because I mean, there are times where there's a guy, this dude named Manny. Um, and I'll say this: Manny annoys me, but he annoys me in a good way because he's always challenging me. No, bro, try this, and I'll be like, ah, and he'll be like, hey, bro, you ever try this? He's just like, so, like, I like when guys are in the chat and they kind of throw me stuff. So, well, yeah, Manny will, I like Manny because he challenges me to do new things. You know what I mean? He'll challenge me to, hey, man, have you ever tried this? Hey, man, try to do this. And he'll just describe it in the chat, and I'll be like, huh. And then I'll try it. You know what I mean? And usually it's kind of like, nope, I can't do it. But it gives me something to work on. You know what I mean? I like that. I like live streaming and people in the chat kind of challenging me like, yo, maybe you need to work on this, or maybe you should do this, or maybe you should do that. You know what I mean? Or like Manny does, like, hey man, you ever try this? You ever try that? You ever try this? You ever try that? So yeah, yeah, bro. Yeah, no, I always get that. I always people are like, man, you look young for your age. You look like you're in your 30s. I feel like I'm in my 30s. My driver's license reminds me that I'm 59. But I don't feel 59. I feel like I'm in my 30s, man. I feel, but I work, like I said, I work out every day. I ride the exercise bike for a half hour. I have an elliptical machine. I got an exercise bike, elliptical machine, lat pull down machine, squat rack, bench rack, the leg extension thing that you put your legs in, all of that. I got a heavy bag. I got a speed bag. I got to pull it out. Ooh, pause on that. Chin up bar, a bunch of stuff. Got boxing gloves, MMA gloves. I used to fight. Um, in the amateurs. But I like to stay healthy. Um, I just like I said, I'll ride the exercise bike for about, I'd say a half hour, but it usually ends up being like 45 minutes, and then I'll ride my elliptical. I put a 40-pound pack on my back, and I'll just do the last 15 minutes on the elliptical with 45-pound pack. But if it starts getting good to me, I might, instead of 15 minutes, it might be a half hour. And then after that, what I'll do is I'll if it's leg day, I do like leg extensions or I do squats. But I always do calf raises because they directly correlate to bass drum work. Um, and if it's arm day, I do a lat pull down. I have a lat pull down machine. I do. I've got like the wide bar where you can sit down and just uh, uh, or I'll bench, or like I'll put 60-pound dumbbells and lay flat on my back and just uh, you know what I mean? Like the 60-pound dumbbell, and just you know, it's good because your arms are independently controlling the weight. You know, um, but I used to be like I'm like 201. I bounce between 201 and like 205. I used to be 240. I used to be 243. I was like huge, big legs. I was huge, and I just wanted to see how big I could get for like, because they were like, "Oh, when you get a certain age, you can't get big." That ain't true. That ain't true. Um, and I wasn't on steroids, and it was natural. I was a monster. I was 243 pounds of muscle. And I actually took a picture on my 50th birthday. My wife took me to like a kind of like bird. It's like this huge like bird sanctuary. It's huge. It's like a bird, butterfly, all kinds of stuff. It's like a park, but it's like there's like I don't know, man. It's kind of weird. It's a nice place. But she took me there for my 50th birthday, and I took a picture of myself in the mirror. I was like, like standing there, Like I went to the bathroom and had a full length mirror. I was like, wow, I look kind of buff, you know. And I had this shirt on. Actually, my shirt was like, bruh. But yeah. So being that big and maintaining it, and I was muscle. I wasn't fat, bro. I was muscle, all muscle. And the problem with that is it's expensive. You got to eat a lot of food. You got to eat an insane. I got tired of eating, man. I got tired of eating. I got really strong. My max bench was like 360. You know. So I got really strong, but it wears it wears on your knees, your ankles, and your hips. Just all that weight. I'm not meant to be that big, so all that weight wears on you. You know. So I just lost it all. You know. I got down to 178. You know, I was like, wow, I lost too much. I ain't been 178 since I was like maybe 18 years old, 17, 18, no, about 18, 19 years old. Yeah, 18, 19 years old. So, you know, so, but yeah, get accustomed. And not only that, I'm going to say this, man. It's just, it helps your quality of life, man. You know, it helps your quality of life, being physically fit. Yeah, 3 floors. There's this, my personal recording studio. Then I have a gym over there, and the other side is it's a pretty nice study area. And then the next floor is the living room, the dining room, the kitchen, and then upstairs, and then we have like the back patio. The upstairs is all the bedrooms and everything. So it's a pretty decent sized house. We're outgrowing it. Um, just 4 kids. I'll say this: it's time for my sons. My daughter, she's at college right now. She's in pre med. My 2 sons share a room. They need their own rooms. Um, and my other daughter, my younger daughter, she's just chilling. She got her own room. The girls got their own room. Um, but we're outgrowing it because my sons need their own room. My wife needs an office. She definitely needs an office. Um, I need a recording studio. We need a house with an attached garage and a detached garage. Um, the detached garage is for me. I need my own recording studio. We need something with a basement. So there's so we could have a nice rec area, and and a weight room. So I could split it up. The kids need their own rooms. Like the boys definitely need their own rooms. Um, and I want and I want an extra room. I want a bonus room, an extra bedroom. So if people come to town, they can stay in the bedroom, or if somebody's just down on their luck. One of our friends is like, whatever. This economy's kind of crazy, so if they need a place to stay, they could stay there. You know, um, like if my sister comes to town, or my mom comes to town, or like one of my in-laws, if they come to town, they got a place to stay. So, you know, but yeah, we need a decent size, a bigger yard. Because the yard we have now, it's pretty decent size. We got like got one section for soccer. because my younger son he likes soccer, and we got another section that's kind of shaded. Um, that he has that like that there's a trampoline back there, and we just need a place for like when we're entertaining. I can be on the grill. We could have people hanging out. You know what I mean? So we definitely we're for the things we want to do, we can kind of pull it off here, but not really. You know. Um, Plus, it don't hurt that we live in Metro Atlanta where property's cheap. So all right, guys. I know that phone's probably going dead. I gotta charge it. Plus, I need something to snack on.